Well, this is an interesting book. Now, I want to clarify, you're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?
Scholar Reza Aslan has written about Islam too, but he came to Morristown to talk about Jesus.
Hi, Dr. Aslan. Thank you so much for coming.
Aslan's controversial new bestseller looks at history and argues that Jesus would not have claimed to be God incarnate. We spoke with the author after his talk. So tell me, who was Jesus?
Jesus was a Jew. I mean, he was a poor Jewish peasant. And he was surrounded by poor Jewish peasants. Those were his disciples. That was his audience. And I think it's also the key to understanding how to read and interpret his message, which was a message by a Jew for Jews about Judaism.
Was he divine?
I mean, that's a question of faith, not a question of history. So I'm not qualified to answer that question.
He's been cited by people like Martin Luther King and Gandhi as a pacifist. Does the record support that?
Well, I think that there's a tendency to think that because Jesus influenced the nonviolent movements that were based around Martin Luther King and Gandhi, that Jesus himself was like Martin Luther King and Gandhi. You have to understand that in the first century, there was no such thing as a nonviolent movement. You can't remove Rome from power, through a sit-in. And so, while there isn't any evidence that Jesus himself openly espoused violence, I think that it's important to understand that his views on the use of violence were far more complex than a lot of Christians think.
Was the historical Jesus worthy of worship, in your opinion?
Worship is a different word. I think he's worthy of being followed. He's worthy of knowing. But worship is a difficult word. I mean, I think that the only thing worthy of worship is God.
So over the centuries, even in Jesus' time, there were many messianic figures. Why did Jesus' message stick when the others didn't?
Well, I mean, certainly it had a lot to do with the power of his message. The message of social justice, of the reversal of the social order, was one that was very appealing to a lot of people. But mostly it had to do with the way in which Jesus' followers reinterpreted that message after his death for a non-Jewish audience. It allowed, I think, that message to spread amongst a Gentile population that allowed it to then become much more widespread, much more general, allowed it to evolve into something more universal than just ethno-nationalist.
So the fact that really it wasn't that well documented sort of worked in his favor?
Well, I mean, I think that the people who documented Jesus' life were making a theological argument about it, not a historical one. These were people of faith. They were writing about faith. So it's a chicken and egg kind of situation, if you will. Oh, yeah, nice music coming.
In your opinion, would the world have been a better place without or with Christianity?
I think Christianity has been responsible for some of the most incredible acts of compassion, movements of social justice, great art, great civilization, great literature. But like all religions, it's not about the religion itself, but about how it's interpreted and understood. And so if you want to turn Christianity into a force for evil and violence, you can. And if you want to turn it into a force for tolerance and understanding, you can.
What's been the most outrageous reaction to the book so far?
Well, I mean, I guess the reactions haven't so much been to the book itself as to, me and my right to have written it, I suppose. That's, I guess, normal. I mean, it's often the case that if you can't attack the message, then you attack the messenger. And, I saw that was coming. I'm not surprised by that in any way.
Does your wife ever say, oh, come on, let's not go through this again?
Well, my wife is, quite a remarkable woman. She's, she's a Christian. She's a mother. She's a businesswoman. She is a social activist, and she is probably the most courageous person I have ever met in my life. This is a woman who created Kiva by simply abandoning, her life, her comforts in the U.S. and traveling to East and Central Africa and finding out what the poor need and then creating something to serve them. I mean, I think she's my hero, that's for sure.
What does your mom say about all this? You converted her to Christianity.
My mom is a very, very big supporter of mine. She knows that I still have deep love and respect for Jesus, and that's all she really cares about.
So you've taken on Muhammad, you've taken on Jesus. What's next, Santa Claus and Easter Bunny?
Yeah, there should be a good book about the historical Easter Bunny. I'm working on that now.
Thank you, Dr. Aslan.
Thank you.
Morristown.